Hi, my name is Lena and I work with a company called Promethean. Now you probably got my video because you just got one of these in your room and you want to know how to use it. Well, we're going to give you tools today that are going to make you very comfortable moving forward and make it very easy for you. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go over the physical features of this panel, and then we'll move into the logistics and kind of the fun within it, okay? So yes, it looks like a giant television in your room right now, and it might be on wheels. It might be taking up floor space that you don't necessarily want. It looks very different, very confusing, but hopefully by the end of this video, we'll feel really comfortable and we're gonna get ready to go to make our room exactly the way we always wanted it, being a little bit more flexible and very easy to use. Tech naturally isn't flexible at all. It's not very user-friendly. So we built you a solution that is going to be just what you're looking for. So with that, you are looking at an 86-inch interactive screen. It's got 20 points of touch. It's very, very strong, very, very durable. It's actually on a height adjustable cart, so it can float all around the classroom. You can move your furniture however you see fit, just different kinds of collaboration spaces. You can also adjust this. So we teach at eye level. So you might want to be working a little bit lower like me, but for this video, we're just going to keep that right there. There's a spring box on the back of that, and if you need an adjustment, please call your IT department. They'll be happy to come out and fix that for you. So with that being said, this interactive panel comes with a brown paper box, and in that paper box has a eraser that we like to stick right here on either the side of the panel or even on the back. It's magnetic, so we'll put it in the back for now. It comes with 2 stylus pens, just like this. There's nothing special about them. I usually don't keep them on the lip of the board because they'll go missing. If you lose them, not a big deal. We'll talk about how to get the replacement if you even need one, but generally not putting anything at the lip of the board, so don't follow me right there. We also have a remote control. This remote control doesn't do a whole lot for you in the classroom aside from the freeze button. So if you're sharing your screens wirelessly, you can simply tap that freeze button and guess what? It's not gonna move, right? That's pretty cool. So you have pens, you have an eraser with a magnetic back, and you also have a remote control. Now, your IT department gave you this amazing keyboard. This keyboard has a wireless trackpad to it and a keyboard. This will allow you to be able to manage whatever's on your screen from this right here. So you could be all the way in the back of the classroom working with a student and just say, hey, I need to switch my page over, and this keyboard right here is going to do that for you. There is a switch button though, so if your keyboard doesn't work, that's probably what it is. So just go ahead and look around the keyboard, find your switch, and power it on or off, okay? So let's get started on just the buttons that are in front of your interactive panel. So you have a power button, right? It's got, if you don't see any lights on your panel at all going, that means that the power is not on, which means if you follow the cable that's on the back side of the panel and you flip the switch rocker switch, or even if you have maybe like a trip light extension switch, go ahead and find that power source and turn it back on. And once you see these lights, you know that you have power. The next 2 buttons after the power is the volume button, volume up or volume down. If I click that volume up button, you're gonna have a menu that pops up. You can adjust the brightness of the screen. You can change the volume of the screen, the contrast of the screen. You can even turn on palm mode, which we'll go over shortly, and or other items within that in settings. The next button over is the big Promethean flame. If you touch that Promethean flame, it's going to bring you up to a unified menu. That unified menu can be sourced right here at the middle bottom of the screen. It can also be sourced on either side of the display. Boop. That is actually an overlay tool to what is really important in our success, which is something that we know. So your IT department did something pretty creative and clever for you. And if I click that flame button and I click the source button and I click HDMI 2, what's going to happen is my panel is going to turn into a very large touch Chromebook. It's going to be very similar to the Chromebook or the device that you have at home. Maybe the device that's sitting at your desk. Either way, this device is going to be an operating system that if you, oh, look at that. We all know Google. Just remember that you need to sign in with your district credentials, just like you would on your laptop or your desktop at home, okay? So we have this display with all of these power buttons and these little features. We have the freeze button, we have the no touch button. The last button is the most important to me because I live in Google, right? So this is a Chrome device. It's got all of my extensions and all of my tabs already saved for me. So we're just gonna add a couple of extra features within that. Now, I'm gonna pull my keyboard just to get started. And I'm gonna turn it on with my switch. And now when I am moving around my classroom, I can use my keyboard to kind of navigate where I would like. Pretty cool, right? I don't always want to teach in the front of the classroom, and I know you don't either. So this keyboard is going to be a real big saving grace for you when you want to teach from absolutely anywhere in the classroom, okay? So I'm going to go back into here. This is our keyboard. Just make sure that you turn it off every once in a while. It's battery operated, okay? And a lot of people want to know right out of the gate, how do you clean your board, right? Because we're touching it. Now, sometimes I usually give students my tennis balls because you can actually write on the screen with a ball. You don't actually need to use a pen. You can use your finger, and we'll go over that here shortly, but screen cleaning the board, right? So it doesn't matter if the board's powered on or off, but I use this little microfiber cloth and just some cleaning solution. It could just be rubbing alcohol, 2 sprays, and I lightly rub the board until it's clean. Just like so. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so sometimes when we turn our board on, just like you saw in the video, I like to make that imperfection of a training video because you saw that no signal jumping on and off. That could be a couple of things. One, on the back of this display is a little box that looks like this. And although this doesn't look like anything that you know, this is actually a Chromebook without a screen. So we actually just mounted one of these little boxes on the back of your panel. And if you're seeing that no signal, kind of like we saw just a couple of moments ago, you might have your power off on your panel. It's possible right here. So if you look at your Chrome box and you see that there's not a light lit right here, go ahead and press that button and you're gonna populate your screen. All right, so the fun begins with talking about the tools that are built into this panel. So the value add of having 2 devices in the classroom, maybe even 3, is one, my teaching station can be its own device, right? So I'm not showing my gradebook off. And this secondary device, just like this Promethean board, can access and do everything that you want on the curriculum side without accessing any of that private information that you might be sharing with just one device through a projector today. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna talk about the tools that are built within here. Now, that unified menu has a great tool called Annotate. And that annotation tool can just float anywhere on your screen, just like so. So I know we're with Google, so I have my curriculum talking about Google with you, but maybe I want to add a little annotation to that. So I want to circle up, hey, Google. So right there, I just annotated with a pen. I could also use my finger, it's just the same, or a tennis ball, or anything really. And I can annotate as I see fit. Now, that's a solid color. Maybe I want that color to be a little bit fatter, right? So I could go in here, press that pen, and I can make that just a little bit thicker for you. Highlighters are in here too. We love our highlighters, so we can use that as we'd like within any curriculum tool we have. So that right there would be my annotation pen. Now, I'm gonna bring back this really cool eraser, and I'm simply just going to erase it. And it's not gonna, you don't have to erase the whole thing. I can use my eraser, or I can use my fist. So a couple of really cool tools, just the writing experience is gonna be enhanced by using that annotation tool that lives right here in that unified menu called Annotate. There's a couple of really cool tools that I love in here that we use as teachers every single day. We know that we don't raise hands anymore, we're not pointing fingers, we're not picking on our students, but we want to be better in tech, right? So by having this display just kind of come on and be like your Chromebook, it's pretty easy to do a training. But what if we were going to give tools away that are going to be more enhanced for you and kind of make you feel a little stronger when you're talking to your students and in that tech world? You know, they giggle at us all the time, right? Because we don't know what we're doing. But now that we have an environment that's very simple and easy, we can prep all of this from home. Pretty cool. Let's go back into that unified menu. This time I'm going to just pull that unified menu from below, and I'm going to go into a tool called the Locker. The Locker has a couple of essential tools for you. The Annotate tool, the Screen Share tool, the Timer, and the Cool Spinner. Now we'll go through a couple of these features. These are just overlay tools that we're already using in the classroom, but we're going to enhance those tools right now using some tech. So I'm going to pull open the spinner really quick, and that spinner, it's just going to lay right on top of that Chrome environment that we're already living in. I'm going to pick names, but I can actually create my own. Now, what ended up happening here is I have a spinner that I just turned on and could have all of my students' names on it. I don't usually set this up myself. Auto rostering is done by my students. So at the beginning of every school year, I always have the students come up to the board, because this is their tool too, and I have them enter their name and create new. We can also turn that spinner up, and we can have it more like Wheel of Fortune. Pretty cool, right? So what we're doing here is we're picking our students with tech. We're not doing it with popsicle sticks, we're not doing it with raise of hands, we're simply doing it within a tool that was built within the Promethean guidelines. So if you want Michael to be chosen one time, it will auto-sync right when you create a spinner. That's what it's going to be. Michael will be picked one time, and everybody will be picked throughout this circled process. If you want to see how many times Emily gets picked, you can actually turn selecting item one time to selecting item in probability, which could be really cool if you wanted to add multiple spinners and bring in just these extra layer of tech tools. Now, a lot of people like this tool because you can do naming conventions, you can pick subjects, you can pick end results. There's so many things that you can do within spinners that kind of give you a leg up and looking cool with tech. So you can add up to 4 spinners on your Chrome device and use them as you see fit. You can always create more, you can delete things, but you know, everybody says, well, how did I get my names to stay there, right? So say you put all these names together, you actually have to make sure you're in your profile, right? So like on that unified menu, I'm in the teacher profile, and you could change your name in there to make sure that you know that it's yours. But that, when you have your teacher profile bit, that's where your names and all of your personalized tools are going to live. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of my spinners really quick. If there's any confusion within the spinners, we're going to have a link to how to get creative with your spinners and what to do with them next, as well as annotation. Let's go back into the unified menu over here. Now remember, that unified menu is exactly the same no matter if you're on that side of the board, or even down below inside this board. So I'm going to go back into the Locker, and I'm going to bring up a tool called Timer. We all use them, let's just be honest. And so I'm going to pop up with this timer. I can have up to 4 timers running at the same time, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a timer. So if I click that plus button, I love these tools just down below here because it gives me a chance to change what could be a timer to maybe a clock or add another. And we can have this go over here, and we can make that like more like a stopwatch. Furthermore, I can change my timer down to 30 seconds, and I can just roll this out. So say we have an assignment running on the back of our Chrome device, so the lesson plan is open, and we're doing collaboration maybe through a Jamboard or something through Canvas, and I want to have my students timed to get ready for our next lesson delivery. So that timer is essential, especially digitalized. It makes us look cool, and it keeps us a little pep in our step with tech. keeping it simple and keeping it very easy to use, okay? All right, so timers, spinners, clocks, lots of settings within that. Please putz around, see what you like. All of those customized settings, again, is gonna live right in your profile, which is in that unified menu I named Teacher. You would create your own profile. You just simply click your name, and you have the settings wheel. You can change your name within that, you, Teacher. I can change my name right here. I'm Lena. Cool. And more importantly, I want to add a little layer of security to this. So back in now that my name is Lena, I could put a lock on here, and that's going to make sure that nobody's going to change my settings at all moving forward. So I can go in here, I can turn on screen lock. I'm just going to create myself a pin, but I don't want to create my pin from here. That is why it is so important to use your keyboard while you're working in the classroom. Maybe I don't want you to see what I've got going on here, right? So make sure that your device is on. If it's not on, usually there's not a light, something going on, but I'm just gonna create this and you can't see what I'm doing. Now, I just don't want my students to see what I'm doing, so naturally I'll use this keyboard not just for group collaboration or not being in front of the classroom, but for typing in my passwords that might not be safe. They're very smart, these kids today, let me tell you. So I just created that pin, and now when I sign into my device, all of my spinners and all of my timers, everything that I've created within the environment is living there, and it's very safe. I'm gonna click back that source button because it kicked me right back to the home screen of this panel. And I'm gonna live in Chrome. We're gonna live in HDMI 2, or we're gonna live in USB-C. When you just click source, see, here we go, no signal. I love live, true, in the classroom experience, right? So here we are, it's saying no source, no signal. Your Chromebox, that little Chromebook without the screen, it's trying to boot up. Now remember, it's probably not gonna look exactly like this when we sign in, but you just have to remember you have to sign in with your school credentials, your username and password, as if you were signing into your laptop, whether that was a Windows device or an Apple device, or maybe you even have a desktop sitting in your classroom. You can sign in with multiple devices and it all auto syncs together. That's what's amazing about the word that I've always had a hard time understanding, which is called the cloud. It auto syncs everything, which is cool. So any device I ever go to, I can sign in, and guess what? All my stuff's gonna be there. Pretty cool. So when we're looking at this tool, let's think of something simple and keep it safe. We have a cleaning cloth that is 25 cents. I can use all sorts of cleaning solutions, but I'd rather prefer to use the rubbing alcohol. My remote that is exceptional for screen freezing, really only. This panel will naturally just jumpstart every single day to your Chromebox. So when you turn the panel on in the morning, it might have that no signal for a moment, but it's gonna just go straight to the sign-in screen like you would on any of your devices. Simply sign in with your tools and you are off to the races. All of these other tools, the annotate tool, which is also on the home screen, or in your locker, your annotate timer or spinner, these are just tools that are ready available for you when you're ready to use them. All right, so some of us use software applications that are living on our desktops and we're going, I can't live in Chrome. I totally hear it. Math departments, science departments, I got you covered. So regardless if you're in a math department, a science department, we want group collaboration and we want to be able to share our screens like what we were doing before, maybe without that cable connector. We might also want to consider having our students share their screen, or even having like access to being able to share multiple people's screens at the same time. Now, if I wanted to go back into that unified menu that we were looking at a little while ago, we went over a couple of basic tools. I went in my locker for my spinner and timer, which is pretty cool, but I might want to use this tool called Screen Share. Now, when Screen Share populates, you might have a window that pops up that looks something like this. Okay, it's got numbers. If you click that little person icon at the bottom, this window is going to show up, and this is actually called a waiting room. So a waiting room can hold up to 39 devices, which means all of your students and you, or if you're crazy and you have 39 devices that you want to share at the same time, go you. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. I haven't met a teacher yet like that. But say, for example, you have a Windows desktop and it's sitting at your desk, or you have a Windows laptop, or just a device that you want to share documents that are living on your desktop, right? So software applications that require Windows, totally get it, okay? We're just going to click, so you can go into your Windows device, and you can either have the screen share app on your device where you go into that application and you go into screen share and you type in this code. For me, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, I'm in a Windows laptop. I could do it at a Windows desktop too. I'm just going to click the Windows button and the K button. Okay, so I could either be in an app called Screen Share, which is probably downloadable in your IT department, okay? Or I can click the Windows K button, and I'm going to click it says Active Panel, and it's got this ID right here. Pretty cool. Okay, so it's reading me, and guess what? I'm about to be wireless, everybody. So there's no more hard wiring. I don't actually have to have my laptop anywhere here, but it's actually just picking up my device right now. This is called Miracast. But I can have my name populates right there. And because I have this little green dot on, that means I can actually have touchback control to it. Now, touchback control means that I can actually walk away from this laptop and control everything from here, but right there. Let's put this laptop down and enter in my name. Just check the box, and I'm going to click Share. Voila! This is my laptop. It's completely wireless. I also, oops, I just canceled my wireless projection, so that's cool. Note to self, if you have a touch laptop, probably don't touch disconnect. All right, oh, actually, I was really just telling myself that I need more power charge. Oh, to the next point. On these height adjustable carts, every single panel comes with a cart, a little tray right here. This is the time as a teacher where I go, probably should have charged my device. So I can actually put my laptop on this tray here, and I can plug my laptop into my power surge that's already connected. So I just showed you a little bit about screen share, but also the failure rates that we have every single day. Now, all of your students can come in here. If they have Chromebooks, they use a Chrome extension. They would simply click the Chrome extension. They would type this ID number in, and guess what? They're going to be sitting here in the waiting room. You can alphabetize them, or you can go by position. So by the time the students come into your class, if you have 9 through 12 students, you probably have an issue with having students bring their devices to school. So this is a great way to hold them accountable because they have to sign in, and you can register it that way. So pretty fun. It's also a really nice way for students to kind of interact within the classroom, as well as interacting with any external device that you currently have. All right, so let's kind of recap some of the things that might happen in the classroom and you go, help me, right? Like my screen is frozen. It happens all the time, all right? Students, they figure it out really fast, but did you know you have a big button right here with a little finger? That right there will disable touch. It'll also enable touch. You also have that button right here on your remote. So if you can't touch the device that's not functioning, you probably have that button pressed or right here, okay? So if you feel lost, your sign might not say mathematics, that's just the screen image, it's just a background screen, right? If you ever feel lost, you can simply go to that flame button and you have to click the source button, and you see your external source, go ahead and click it, and it will take you back to the device that you're supposed to be on, which is normally your Chromebook. If you don't see your Chromebook populate at all, and you don't see that the source is on, the lights aren't on, call your IT department. You probably have a cable that got disconnected. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. If there's any other questions that you have, feel free to reach out to your IT department. He'll be happy to get you scheduled to get things fixed on your interactive panel.